Hey guys, Two Legit City here. Today in the game of Oxygen Not Included, we're going to be going over how to deal with the superconductive asteroid that you guys may find in your star map. If you guys are familiar with the superconductive asteroid, this asteroid is going to be where you're going to be able to find the rare resource known as Niobium, and of course the Niobium volcano. This asteroid also houses an artifact if you guys are looking to complete the Cosmic Archaeology achievement. And of course, the key trait with this is that the top of the map, when you guys look at the surface, has a lot of magma and is difficult to deal with. Today's video, we're going to show you guys a couple of different ways to deal with the magma and of course, safely go to explore the entire asteroid. Now to get things started, let's go over the rocket you guys will need in order to complete this mission. The modules, as you can see right here, are going to be the set of modules you guys will need, and you can see right here we have a Radbolt engine as our rocket of choice. You guys can choose to swap out the rocket engine with the other rocket engines if you guys don't have the Radbolt fuel, or if you have an abundance of a different fuel type that could still cover the same amount of range for today's trip. The rocket engine needs to be able to cover the distance between the starter asteroid and the superconductive asteroid and be able to fly its way back. That means you need to be able to make a round trip from here to here and to be able to fly back. And depending on your seed, the amount of tiles between your asteroid and the superconductive asteroid will vary. So you guys will have some options for that, and it's going to be up to you. Now, the modules that are going to be necessary for today's build is going to be the Trailblazer module and the Rovers module. Both of these need to be made out of steel specifically, and you guys cannot choose to use another metal. You guys will need steel, as everything else will actually melt on the superconductive asteroid. Now, the last option is the Spacefarer module. I'm choosing to use the larger module, however, you guys can choose to use the Spacefarer nose cone instead of the basic nose cone to make a shorter rocket for potentially a faster trip. Now, let's go inside the Spacefarer module. On the interior of the Spacefarer module, there's nothing really special about this. I have a bathroom so that we could use the restroom on the trip. And of course, we have a mess hall with the fridge. Fridge is going to be filled with berry sludge, and it's going to be dependent on how fast your rocket pilot can drive is how much you should try to stockpile in. Ideally, you're going to want probably anywhere between 10 to 25 kilograms. That's going to last a good amount of cycle counts. As you can see, we have a couple of room bonuses, but none of them are necessary. The interior is going to be completely up to you, with the only necessity is the plastic wall to shield you from the radiation. The only required things are going to be the storage bins that you can see right here, the optional pedestal, and of course you're going to need food. So we already went over food, the bathroom is here as well, and let's talk about the storage bins. These storage bins, you're going to need a couple things. I recommend 2 tons of steel, and of course, over 10 tons of either obsidian or ceramic. The reason being is because ceramic actually has a high melting point. The ceramic raw mineral is also going to be something most of the players are going to have the resources to make, and sometimes you might not run into an abundance of obsidian, and because of that, having some options is usually better. It's going to be completely up to you, as they're going to be interchangeable. Now, in the case that you guys don't have a lot of either resource and you guys do choose to have a mixed storage bin, you guys will need to have both of the materials add up to over 10 tons, and that's perfectly fine if you guys don't have an abundance. For the other bin, you're going to need to sweep only some Atmos suits. Ideally, you want some Atmos suits already charged with oxygen, and you're going to need this for when we do the Trailblazer model launching. Of course, the pedestal is going to be optional. The pedestal is going to be the only way to transport the artifact outside of that planetoid and bring it back home. Now, that being said, it's also recommended to have oxygen for your trip. And if you guys are worried about popped eardrums, if you guys keep the suit on, you guys don't have to worry about that. Not only that, there's a little bit of an Atmos suit exploit that I won't get too much into, but by keeping your Atmos suit on, it allows for you to kind of cheese the oxygen requirement. Let's actually, before we leave, talk about how to sweep your Atmos suits into the bin specifically with oxygen. Ideally, you want to set up like this, sweep only on only the Atmos suit at high priority, and you're going to want to go to your Atmos suit docks. Once you're at your Atmos suit docks, you're going to want to click on your individual Atmos suit docks and look for a mouse over durability of over 90%. Once you have that, you could click on set suit, And once you have that, you could scroll down to the content and see how much oxygen is stockpiled. If you do choose to get this suit, undock it, click on the suit, and sweep it. At that point, they should sweep it to the rocket, and before you leave, make sure you have 2 suits specifically, as we will need to have 2 dupes on this rocket mission. Now, once you have your items stockpiled and inside of the rocket, you're going to need to choose 2 duplicates. Ideally, the best case situation is to have someone with the mining skill. Super duper hard digging, as this allows you to mine obsidian. The mining of the obsidian is also going to be an option if you don't have enough raw minerals on your asteroids or from the other excavations as well. You guys can send a dupe with high digging skill to do a little bit of mining on that planet instead. However, I do recommend bringing the materials with you, and if not bringing any materials at all, you do need to bring some raw minerals just so that you could build some ladders to get down from the rocket. Now, if you guys do bring the stockpiled raw minerals such as ceramic or obsidian, you guys do not need to have someone to have this digging skill. Now, once everything is inside and everything is checked off the list, oxygen, food, the materials we need such as 2 suits, over 10 tons of obsidian, and of course 2 tons of steel, you're going to be able to start liftoff, and let's fly to the superconductive asteroid. Alright, we're almost there. Now, once you get to the superconductive asteroid and you're inside the orbit that is the purple ring surrounded said asteroid, you're going to be able to want to deploy your first rover, and that's going to be your regular rover. So, as you can see right here, this is the surface of my superconductive asteroid, and we've already dropped off a rover before just so that we could do an achievement for landing a rover on every asteroid, and of course, we did that with a rover and we didn't do much with them since. So now what we need to do is land our first rover, and it doesn't really matter where. You're going to want to land your rover immediately and then deconstruct said rover. Now once that's done, the rover could actually deconstruct the rover's lander, and that will give you 400 kilograms of steel. The next thing you're going to want to do at this point is survey a little bit. As you can see, we have a pool of magma before we get inside the room, and there's a little bit of obsidian in the way as well. Now, we're going to deal with the magma first, as that's going to allow us to safely dig through the obsidian, and so you're going to want to look at some of the terrain. A lot of the times, you're going to want to look for the closest way from where you landed, and this is probably going to be the closest tile. So doing a little bit of scouting, that's not bad. And of course, you can see that the majority of the pool of magma is in the middle. Now, once we've scouted down a little bit and know that this is also where the room is that we need to grab the artifact, this also acts as a safe room. So ideally, you're looking for this room, and that's going to be our target dig tunnel. So you could see that ideally, I think the best path for us to take is going to be trimming a little bit of the obsidian. If not, that's also fine. Go straight down from here, get into this chunk, and then try to get into this room. This will give us access to the artifact, and this will act as a safe room, as usually this is sealed, not allowing magma to flow in viciously. Now, for the second step, you're going to want to go back into your rockets, go to the interiors, and this is going to be where we're going to drop off one of our duplicates. In our case, we're going to be sending our builder, that is Gilbert. So what you're going to want to do is take out your suits. And now you have 2 full suits. At this point, I will pause, unequip the suit off of Gilbert, take another suit, and force Gilbert to equip it. This is going to top off Gilbert's oxygen tank, and this is going to be nice. Now that he has that, idle, pop the eardrums, yes, that's my fault, but because of the new suit, we're going to be able to send him onto the rover. So click on the rocket control station, Trailblazer Gilbert, and we're going to deploy. Of course, anywhere on the same island is perfectly fine, and let's go. Now, if you guys are wondering, yes, this chunk of obsidian is rather hot, but our steel rover lander is going to be able to handle it, and of course, if you guys didn't know, our duplicates are not going to be affected while walking on top of it. That's because we are in a vacuum. There is no gas mediums. So, we're going to want to deconstruct that, and we're going to want to build our rocket platform. Now, it's going to be up to you where you guys choose to build your rocket platform. I'm just going to have mines on the left side over here. And of course, that's going to be made out of steel. I happen to have extra 400 kilograms, but it's going to be the same thing once we deconstruct that. extra 400 kilograms as well. So that's going to be 800 kilograms of steel, allowing us to build our rocket platform. Now, of course, this is nothing to worry about. The duplicate suit's not really changing by too much, and they're not worried about the heat. So this chunk of hot obsidian, it's not really anything to worry about. So we will wait for this to be built, and once this is built, you're going to want to land your rocket immediately. So change and land. The moment this is done, you're going to want to try to build some ladders. So we're going to wait for that rocket to launch, and we need to give access for our duplicate here to go back into the rover's module. Now we need access here for Gilbert to go back into the Spacefarer module. Another thing I will recommend to do is click on both the Trailblazer, cancel auto delivery, and for the rover as well, unless you're doing a specific strat that we'll talk about later. Now that both of these are disabled, we don't have to waste any of the steel here or the steel stockpiled inside on these two modules. Now, you're going to need to build some ladders. Alright, so now we're just going to be waiting for the ladders to be built. Once that's ready, we're going to be able to go back inside, and let's talk about the strategies. For the first strategy, this is going to be the completely safe, easy strategy. Now, for this strategy, I would also recommend having a second rover be dropped off the moment you guys are actually able to do so, and that's why we actually brought the extra steel. Not only that, we also want to be able to build a couple things. That is going to be a storage bin on the outside, and of course, we're going to need to sweep set obsidian from the interior, or ceramic of course, into the outside for the storage bin. Now, we have to enable auto delivery here to allow the steel. Once your storage bin is built, of course, you're going to want to take all of your raw minerals, regardless of what it may be, and take it outside. Now, once you're able to move all of your obsidian outside, and of course have your rover's module refueled and have your new rover there, you're actually able to leave. And we're going to be able to take care of the first strategies with just the rover. So with that, we're going to actually launch outside into orbit, of course. And of course, begin the launch sequence. Now, while that's happening, what you're going to need to do is have your rover start building ladders with the obsidian. This is going to be key, as this allows you to start your tunnel going down safely. Now, the moment we actually get to the outside, you're going to want to deploy your new rover. Of course, drop that off anywhere. Now, the rover is going to actually help your other rover with some of the builds, and it's going to increase the manpower. We could already send these guys back home for them to refill, and of course, we'll make another mission once we're ready to go mine. But while we're here, the rovers, their job is going to be build a ladder going down, and once we're ready, we're going to build a tunnel. The tunnel is going to look as so. And the idea for the tunnel is we're going to build 3 wide, and this is going to allow us to eventually go down the middle and deconstruct the tiles, building a empty tunnel so that our duplicates won't actually swim in magma while climbing down the ladder we'll build them. Because obsidian does not melt with the magma, this allows us to make a very permanent solution to get through the tunnel and then get to the area. As you can see here, having both the rovers here is pretty convenient. Not only that, we're actually going to be able to start with some of the other designs as well by placing some of the tiles in choice locations. This will speed up the process as both of these are going to be able to take care of business. Ideally, you're going to want a 3 thick wall going straight up so that you can deconstruct down the middle. So let's let the rovers work, and let's see the end result in a little bit. Alright, so the rovers are done. It didn't take too long. As you can see, we're on cycle 789. That was pretty quick. The rovers, basically, we built out this wall first. After that, we did the middle. And after that, we did the right side. Of course, I added some makeshift placeholders so that the rovers could stand on the tile to build the far left. But as you can see, we split the magma and have a tunnel with a ladder going straight down. Now we can actually just come back with a duplicate with the digging skill, super duper hard digging, in order to dig through the obsidian and get our way safely into the insides. As you can see though, there's a little bit of sour gas, so I would actually recommend digging out, going out to certain locations. And once you're ready, I would go out this way, and after we have that mined out, I would try to have a rover deconstruct the tile here so that the sour gas could leave. A lot of the times, this is just for a safety precaution so that your duplicants don't get swept and scalded by the hot gas, as that's going to be hot enough to overheat the suits and cause a little bit of damage to the duplicants. Now, of course, this is going to be the first strategy, of course, and by doing this tunnel with the rovers, you have a safe option to take care of the magma issues that you guys may have. But now, let's show you guys the second strategy. Now for the second strategy comes at a more passive approach, as what we actually utilize is the pitcher pump. If you guys are unfamiliar with the mechanics of the pitcher pump, this section of the pitcher pump, the upper half that is not considered the roots, is the only active part of the building. This means that if you have the pitcher pump on the top half in a vacuum, while having the rest of the roots actually submerged in magma, this does not actually cause the building to overheat, as the temperature will stay the same. The roots of the pitcher pump are actually separate from the building, and because of that, we get to utilize the pitcher pump as a way of allowing our rovers to auto-bottle dump all of the magma. Each rover takes about 10 seconds in order for them to grab a bottle of magma from a pitcher pump. This allows your rovers to just passively pump the magma up, and since they're actually able to do all the jobs here, they're going to be able to deconstruct the pitcher pumps and build new ones as the magma level goes down, and of course they will just infinitely just dump the magma into the space vacuum. As the moment the magma actually lands on this tile, they're going to actually have the magma disappear because of the space vacuum properties. And because of that, we're actually going to be able to just pitcher pump all of the magma from here safely with the rovers. Now, you guys might be wondering, this is going to be a long task, and will the rovers actually be able to take care of business? That's going to be yes. The rovers are going to be able to carry 200 kilograms at a time, and that means you're going to be able to empty out 200 kilograms of magma each time. Now, with 2 pitcher pumps and the rovers working constantly, we could assume somewhere around 50 to 80,000 kilograms of magma to be dumped over its lifespan. The rover will last 10 cycles, assuming that it started the moment we actually dropped it off. In that case, one of the rovers will have a shorter lifespan than the other, because it was actually used to help us build the initial ladders and the rocket platform setup. That being said, though, that's still a good around 10-ish cycles for our rovers to be able to pitcher pump all of the magma and dump it into space. So by dropping off rovers here, they're going to be able to start just pumping up the magma and getting rid of it. Eventually, you'll be able to actually remove all of the magma if you guys choose to do so, or just remove enough so that your duplicants could start digging a tunnel down to the center. Now, that being said, this is going to be a very slow alternative compared to the first strategy, as the first strategy was a conquer and divide strategy. We immediately built over an area and then divided that area into 2 separate walls and us going in between. This strategy is a slow roll, as we are slowly just going to be dumping all the magma into the space vacuum. Now, of course, you guys might have noticed as well, there's a little bit of a weird terrain feature right here. I did want to capitalize on that, but if you guys do have a feature like this, you guys can choose to do so, and that's meaning that you guys could utilize the properties of the magma pushing down and having this push up. And because of the space exposure is over here below the amount of magma on these middle parts, you can actually dig a couple of tiles up the obsidian from either side, and the magma right here will actually push down so that the magma over here can push up, deleting the top layer of magma in the process. Of course, this is another passive slow roll procedure, and it's going to be up to you. Now, that means it's going to be time for the third and final strategy that we have to deal with the magma up top, and of course allowing you to go inside and start digging. Alright, now the last strategy in order to deal with the magma on the superconductive asteroid. It is going to be utilizing a door crusher mechanism. Now, in order to do this safely, I recommend having your rover set everything up. A rover is able to do a lot of the miscellaneous builds as well, such as building the automation wire and building the tiles. However, building the actual logic gates, and of course the mechanized airlocks, and the timer sensor is going to require your duplicants to take a dip into the magma and finish up the design. Now, from this point, you would need a ladder, and I would recommend having the ladder be completely connected for a little bit of speed, as this will be better for travel time purposes. And what you would like to do is probably set up your crusher right at the bottom of the ladder. You just need a little bit of space right here, and you could always manually create a pocket with the tiles. If you guys are not familiar with the design, all you need to do is make a U shape with the terrain or not, and also have your mechanized airlocks stacked like so. This allows your magma to flow in from all directions, and once this door closes, it's going to crush, as it cannot go either down, up, left, or right. Now, because of that, the door crusher is going to be a fast solution, and you're going to need to set up your automation like so. On this input, this is a L shape, and then there's another tile here for the automation wire, timer sensor here, and then you're going to want a buffer gate pointing down like so. Once that's good, that's going to be exactly what we have here, and then have your rover set everything up. Your rover could supply with steel, and make sure all you need to do is have your duplicants finish off the task. From there, I would have the timer sensor at max priority, and then everything else should be okay. And the next step is going to be setting up your duplicates. Now that we're inside of our rocket, you can see that Gilbert is missing a suit. He's going to get the second full one, and we're going to give that back to Gilbert again. While we had the suit that Gilbert took off initially with 37 kilograms still, we're going to give that to Cthulhu. Cthulhu is going to help out even though he's not a priority builder. Having the duplicates both inside is going to make it a little bit better. Alright, let's have the dupes get the job done. So, we have the duplicates in their new suits, and they're going to be trying to navigate to get this as soon as they can. Let's let this hurry up. Now, of course, the duplicates cannot stay that long inside of the magma. Every 5 seconds that pass, they will take 10 points of damage. As you can see, with 2 duplicates, Cthulhu was only able to take 42, while Gilbert was only able to take 32. That being said, everything is built. Timer sensor, we're going to set to 5 seconds, 5 seconds. Buffer gate is going to be set to 3 seconds. And now we're going to force them to leave by clicking on crew. Now, of course, you're going to want to pause a lot during this because the magma's scary. But we should be fine. And let's let the dupes out. Now, what we made over here is what's called a magma crusher. Oh, I'm sorry. This was not connected. And that should be good now. Alright, so as you can see right there, opens, splash in, and we could see that we have 2,979 kilograms on over this tile, and over here is 2863. That's around easily almost 6,000. And every time we close a door, we destroy 6,000 kilograms of magma, as long as the pressure allows for it. As you can see, it's a very quick alternative. The magma levels are already dripping and lowering visibly. So this, although risky, it's going to be a good alternative. And not only that, since you already have a rover here, you could very easily set up another pitcher pump situation to allow for a little bit more help on the job. Of course, we're basically taking the second strat and adding on top of the third strat. And if you guys want to increase the speed, this is a good option to do so. Now, the only downside with this is that we are deleting the magma. So if you guys are from the school of thought where you guys have to harness the power of the thermal energy, you guys may not enjoy this strategy. However, this is a very quick way to delete all of said magma. Now, with that being said, those have been the 3 methods that you guys can choose from in order to deal with the superconductive asteroid. After getting through the initial magma ocean on the top, you typically will have your veins of niobium for you to mine. This is a tier 1 digging skill. Obsidian one is tier 3. There is your artifact on the pedestal, and of course, watch out for the sour gas. Now, for the most part, all we have to do now is get rid of the magma, wait for that to happen, and then come back with our rockets to bring a dupe with the digging skill in order to deal with the area. But hopefully these tips help, and if you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And of course, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.